Good morning and welcome to yet another session on daily current affairs with Sathya sir. This is me, Sathya from IQ Ideas. I go through the daily newspaper, scanning for important headlines for current affairs, which you should be following, keeping in mind various entrance examinations which ask current affairs. Also, for good articles which you can read for improving your language, your English, and interesting words from vocabulary. So without further ado, let's start with today's session, where the first headline on the main page is Iran and Israel grudgingly cease fire as Trump drops the F bomb. Okay, so the word is grudgingly, right? Grudgingly is rather unwillingly. And the news article is Iran Israel ceasefire. And President Donald Trump of the United States has done something. So in yesterday's news, we saw how Donald Trump claimed that he had asked for a ceasefire. And let's read the news. It says US President Donald Trump abruptly announced a ceasefire late Monday between Israel and Iran that no one had a clue about, least of all the two adversaries. Okay. So, what is the meaning of the word adversary? An adversary is an opponent, a foe, or an enemy. And has everybody wondering if it would be meaningful and lasting? The two countries were still firing missiles at each other when Trump announced an elaborate ceasefire on his social media platform. Elaborate is detailed, having a lot of nuances to it, a lot of details to it. He claimed Israel and Iran came to me almost simultaneously and said, peace. I know the time was now. The world and the Middle East are the real winners. Okay. Well, if this is what he has actually written, all caps, then seems very emphatic. Right. Interestingly, it says even Trump administration officials appeared gobsmacked. So what does it mean to appear gobsmacked? To be gobsmacked is to be taken aback, to be very surprised. So even the Trump administration officials appeared gobsmacked with the announcement, which White House later said was aided by Qatar ruler Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. Israel seemed to have a tough time overcoming its surprise in the middle of punitive strikes, even though Trump spoke to PM Benjamin Netanyahu before public, as did Iran, which waited 3 hours before its state media confirmed the deal. Okay, so what is meant by punitive comes from the same root word as punishment, right? Punitive is something done as a punishment. So a very interesting news regarding an update to the Iran-Israel conflict, in which US had also apparently dropped bombs on nuclear sites. So definitely worth following. Then the other news information in the main page are all minor newses which don't seem to be too important. There's a after 5 years, train fares are set to rise from July 1st. Okay. 12 days after the AI 171 crash, medical students gather to start a new mass. Voters to declare new proof of place of birth. Bomb hoax hits Gujarat court. Okay. So the main news on the front page is mainly the ceasefire. In the city page, no great information, just updates on the unfortunate 12 June Boeing crash and a hoax which has hit school. In the next city page, a lot of crime-related news, nothing important. The next city page, Middle East airspace closure hits flight. So flights are hit because of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. DCGI bears BS from clinical trials. Sensationalist news, but not too relevant. In the state news, a lot of crime-related news. In the nation page, the big headlines: suicide among top two causes of death of young Indians. Motor accidents and cardiovascular illness is also major reasons. So sad news, but not relevant from the perspective of entrance exams. The next nation page again has just an update on MPs to the government, members of parliament to the government. Why wasn't any FIR slapped on Justice Burma? Okay, nothing relevant. The next page is a page devoted to health. And the main thing is how nasal sprays have got many Indians hooked. Not relevant. The next nation, India urges SCO to act against terror perpetrators and sponsors. So, what is the SCO? Okay, so this is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Right. So, what is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? Who is the head? Who are the member nations? Where is it headquartered? Those are details which you can definitely research online. Next, fiscal leakage, 40 data hike, welfare outlay by 4 to 7%, says report. Okay. Let's read what this is. Fiscal leakage and erroneous or duplicate beneficiary records drain budgets, inflating welfare outlays by an estimated 4 to 7% annually. A report released by the Niti Aayog on Tuesday said, stressing the urgent need for robust data quality to fortify digital governance, build public trust, and ensure efficient service delivery. Okay, the only takeaway which I have from this particular news would be what exactly is meant by the Niti Aayog. So read up on what is the Niti Aayog, who's the current chairperson of the Niti Aayog, and so on. Other than that, voters must declare place of birth and give proof. Okay, not very relevant, but you can just read it for updates. Ministry of Defense inks 13 contracts to enhance Army's operational readiness. So to ink a contract means to sign a deal. Okay. Then I have a techie page. It's not the pipeline, it's the system, seems to be the center article with a lot of female executive images and opinions. And it says Indian engineering colleges produce a high proportion of women graduates, and while many of them enter the workforce, attrition often sets in after the first few years. On the occasion of International Women in Engineering Day on June 23rd, we asked senior women technology leaders why this trend persists, what their own experiences have been, and what companies like theirs are doing to address it. Okay, so the one important thing, which is just a snippet, is June 23rd is the International Women in Engineering Day. And from perspective of vocabulary, what is meant by attrition? So in corporate parlance, in business, attrition means when an employee leaves the job, that's called attrition in the job. Okay. Other than that, so these would be interesting. This would be an interesting read, the perspectives of various senior women technology leaders on why there's a high attrition after the first few years of women graduates joining the workforce. Okay, so I would definitely suggest that you read that article out of interest. Then the next nation page, dictatorial mentality led to emergency, says Shah. So, on the eve of the 50th anniversary of imposition of emergency by Indira Gandhi in 1975, Home Minister Amit Shah on Tuesday said it was an attempt to turn a multi-party democracy into dictatorship, as he hit out at the DMK, socialists, and others who have joined hands with Congress, saying they were sitting with a party that had murdered democracy. Okay, that's rather scathing. And the one takeaway from this is in 1975, emergency was declared in India. So this is more of a historical news, but definitely you should be reading on why the emergency was declared in India, what was the outcome of that, and other things. And the next article again, Indira Gandhi Center plans year-long events to mark 50 years of emergency. So both these articles, one is Home Minister Amit Shah's take on it, and one is just a general article about 50 years of emergency. Okay. The next is the business page, where The finance minister has said India is not a tariff king and rates are lower than approved. Says India and exports doing well despite global headwinds. So that is some news, which some opinion, which I definitely would expect people interested in business to read. Next, no brick and mortar store plans, says Walmart. So the interesting thing to understand is what is a brick and mortar store. So a physical store is called a brick and mortar store as opposite to an online store. So a physical store now is referred to as a brick and mortar store. So this is the CEO seeks level playing field, wants inventory-based model to be open to foreign retailers. So Walmart, one of the largest retailers in the world, and Walmart has claimed that brick and mortar stores are not in plan. But from the perspective of general knowledge, Walmart was founded in the US by Sam Walton. And I would definitely urge you to read up on the history of Walmart, and any news regarding its entry to India would be something to keep an eye on. Okay. We move on to the next page, my favorite, the middle page. The masthead extreme top is the best defense is a good offense. Okay. The main piece is by Attila Somfalvi, who's a columnist based in Tel Aviv and co-founder of Coalition for Regional Security. Can Trump tame Bibi? Whether the ceasefire holds and West Asia becomes less incendiary depends on US President's ability to make Netanyahu stop using war as political cover and take peace seriously. So what is meant by the word incendiary? And incendiary is anything which burns, right? So this is an interesting article by a person based out of Tel Aviv on the current Middle East conflict and US's role in that. The left three articles, Atom of Truth. Experience shows economic strength and conventional military superiority matters more than nukes in a war. Again, an interesting take. Whale of a story, new research on orcas, just a human interest story. And Jug Surya's second opinion humor column, Britain on the Boil, with summer weather taken from other places, Britain blows hot and cold. I would definitely read Jug Surya's column for its very interesting take on things, very humorous take on things. The middle column is JP, Vajpayee, Morarji, Charan Singh versus Mrs. G. On June 25th, 1975, hours before emergency was declared, then opposition bigwigs rallied in Delhi. An eyewitness account of the last protest before Indira Gandhi suspended democracy for 21 months. Okay. A column by Vivek Shukla, who chronicles Delhi's history and politics. This should be a very, very interesting read. We've already seen the 1975 emergency related couple of articles, but this is more of an opinion piece, and I would definitely urge students to read this, both from the perspective of understanding post-independence Indian history, what happened during emergency, a dark phase of Indian modern history, and so on. The special page today is why Operation Sindoor set India's drone sector buzzing. They are lightweight, can carry deadly payloads, and are capable of spying on and striking deep into enemy territory. Drones are the future of warfare, and India Inc. is going all out to become self-reliant. Okay. So before I even read the article, the highlights in the middle says Army's latest orders. 450 Nagastra 1-hour loitering munitions, kamikaze drones, hybrid mini UAV switch drones. The Indian drone market is $268 million in 23, $90 billion in 23. India government and Drone Federation India estimates. So this is going to be a very, very interesting piece. Half the page is devoted to it. So both from the perspective of understanding modern warfare, getting updates on technology, updates on India's defense capabilities and language. The global page main headline is both Israel and Iran deny violating truce, and absence of ceasefire details adds to confusion about sequence of strikes and counter strikes. So Trump claiming to have brokered yet another, or called yet another ceasefire between the two warring factions in the Middle East, and a lot of other news related to that. Yet another article reads NATO chief praises Trump for making Europe pay in a big way on defense ahead of a key summit. Trump's announcement of truce caught his own top officials by surprise. Nothing surprised there. Okay. The sports page, one single big heading, Young India laid low at Leeds. Test keeps slipping away from India's grasp as Duckett and company cash in on ordinary attack to take England closer. So not great news for Indian cricket fans, but an update on a test match between India and England happening there. And the last page does not seem to have any major news article, just information updates on various things and pieces which sports aficionados can read. So that is pretty much today's news. No big events starting off, but of course updates on the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Couple of things which were important, which I would definitely strongly recommend that you go online, read up on, search, revise, is one, the emergency which was declared in 1975 under the regime of Indira Gandhi. And second, for more business related things about Walmart, about the founder of Walmart, about Walmart's foray into India, so on and so forth. So these were the major current affairs news from today, which brings us to the end of today's session. If you liked what you saw, then do hit that like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to this channel for daily updates on current affairs, English and vocabulary. This is me, Sathya, signing off. Wish you all the best. See you tomorrow.